Hey, what's going on, guys? Had a kind of very speedy setup here, so hopefully everything's working okay. You can see me okay, hear me okay, everything working well. Yes, there should be, I believe. Yeah, looks like there should be some music playing. Let me know how the music level is, if the background music is too high, too low. Doctor, you've not missed anything yet. Literally just opening the box of parts. So here's everything for this. Frosty mentioning not easy to transform. Yeah, so this is the first time I've ever built this kit, but I have built the gray Zeta, which is basically the same kit. It just has some different parts, some different weapons, different color. Hey, thank you. Awesome Adam from 2099. Wow. Well, I have many questions what 2099 is like, but thank you for the super chat there. That's looks different from how it normally looks on here. That's interesting. I don't know if something's changed or something how that's showing up, but thank you. Really appreciate that. Let's see. I got a big promotion at work last week, and to celebrate, I ordered the PG Unleashed. Nice. Yes, you'll enjoy that. All right. So for this kit, let's get down to business. So there's kind of a whole thing that I want to talk about with the Ver.Ka coming out soon, but I think I'm just going to do a separate video on that. And I can tell you guys, but basically talking about like what to expect from the new Ver.Ka, and especially like compared with this kit. And so that's why I wanted to go ahead, because I'm planning on reviewing this kit before the Ver.Ka comes out anyway, but realized kind of as I was thinking about that, like I really need to get this kit done and reviewed so that I can, of course, have it done for when the Ver.Ka is here, which should be pretty soon. But then I can also do this topic video that I'm talking about. One thing that's really cool I want to point out to you guys here is I just kind of take a sidetrack for a moment. Hang on. Oops. Nope, that's it. All right. If you look here in the manual, I'm not sure if I've ever seen this before. Maybe the other 2.0 kits have this, but as far as I can remember, I don't remember the other 2.0 kits. Sorry, it's way too close. Let me zoom in here a little bit. I want to be zoomed in, but not quite that much. There we go. All right. At the start, so like this is for the head unit, and it not only shows you what runners you need, but it circles the parts on each runner that you need. So that made it very easy to cut all the parts out ahead of time for this. So that normally the runners where just the manuals where it shows you the runners you need for each section, that's convenient. But the fact that they even circle the parts on there, even the polycaps, that's really cool, I thought. So just kind of a little side thing. But yeah, I realized, I want to do this video talking about, what to expect with the new Ver.Ka. And I realized, well, I really need to get this 2.0 built first. So here we are. Get this thing built up and get the review done. And then we can have a kind of discussion video about the whole thing. Let's see, Sprue Kits did that. Oh, interesting. It is super convenient. So, all right. Got just a couple of stickers here. The head, of course. There's one on the back of the head as well, right? Yeah. Get these on here. So I'm just gonna follow the manual. Sometimes I kind of skip around, or we'll skip one section to build another section first, but I'm gonna do my best to follow the manual this time and stick with this. So yeah, hope you're having a good day. Thank you, Everything Gundam. And hey, hello over there on Twitch. Anybody else who's watching there on Twitch, howdy. So yeah, having built the gray Zeta, I have like sort of built this kit before, but I don't really remember much about the build. So it's not like I have a clear recollection of what that was like. This part, is that supposed to leave a gap? I don't think so. A separate piece here for the Vulcans, which is nice. Which is in white, which seems like a strange color. I guess that's what color the Vulcans are supposed to be, maybe. Is it? Yeah, I guess so. But at least it's a separate part, so it would be very easy to paint in a different color if you wanted to. Let's see. I did build one part of this ahead of the stream, which is just the base, which is just like 3 parts you have to put together for the base for this. I went ahead and put that together. Otherwise, we've got a fair amount of stuff to build in this because, unlike the Ver.Ka, this one does also include the Hyper Mega Launcher, which, yeah, I think for me, that's probably going to be the thing that's going to be, I mean, just without not knowing anything about it really ahead of time, that's going to be probably my biggest gripe with the Ver.Ka, is the fact that they chose not to include the Hyper Mega Launcher. I think if I remember correctly, I saw somebody mention something about why they thought that might be something to do with, like, that was like Kotoki's design or something like that. Something like he based the design off of some other version that doesn't have the Hyper Mega Launcher or something like that. You guys, does that sound familiar, or do any of you guys know what I'm talking about with that? Can you clear that up if any of you guys know? Help save myself the embarrassment if that's true. I'm going on a long tirade about it in the review, and then somebody's saying like, oh, well, there's a good reason for it. One thing that I don't like about this version of the kit, I can tell you immediately, is that you, for the V-fin, for the yellow parts for the V-fin, like kind of that one, which is on there right now, and then this part here, you only have the option of using these soft plastic parts, which I don't prefer. They are nice in that they're obviously like softer, so they're going to be more durable when you're doing the transformation, less risk of breaking those parts. But I prefer to have the option to have them just be hard plastic as well. So, yep. Let's see. I want to just make a little adjustment here on that camera. But, yeah, P-Banda. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's probably what it's going to be. That is probably the reason as to why the main kit is not including that it's going to be a P-Bandai exclusive item. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you guys are probably right, but it is a shame if that's the extent of the reasoning behind it. Kind of excited for the Ver.Ka. I've been putting off buying the 2.0. Yeah, I'm sure you're probably not alone as well. You know, it's one of those kits that it's just kind of always around. So it's one that, like, for me as well, it would be this kit in particular. I mean, like, unless I really wanted it for some like really specific plan, I had an idea of something that I really want to do with this kit. It's not one that I would have been in a rush to go out and buy either because of that. And so I'm sure there's probably some other people out there as well who are kind of in the same boat, who've always maybe been kind of interested in this kit, but never actually pulled the trigger to buy one. And now we're getting the new Ver.Ka. So I think the main thing that I want to stress about that is that I don't think, and we'll see once the kit comes out, I could be proven wrong, but I don't think that you should go into like looking at the Ver.Ka as like the better version of the Zeta or an upgrade to the master grade Zeta in any way. I'm honestly, I'm not expecting it to be like overall that much better than this kit, just a different version of it essentially. Because the new Ver.Ka is not a 3.0, it's just a Ver.Ka. So that just means, like, just by definition, it really only just means that it's just a new version. Different interpretation of the Zeta Gundam, not a 3.0. If it was like a 3.0, they'd call it a 3.0, basically. That's what I'm saying. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be better in certain ways, because I mean, it's coming out, what, 15 years later? This kit, when did it come out? This is older than you might think. 2005. So it's 18 years old now. It's pretty crazy. So this kit's definitely got some age to it. Yeah, the Ver.Ka, yeah, exactly to Doctor's point there, the Ver.Ka is benefiting from modern engineering. So yeah, undoubtedly the Ver.Ka will be better in certain ways. But I mean, did I forget something? No, maybe not. I don't think so. Did I? I feel like I did. No. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's still the same design. I mean, the Zeta, you know, it looks a certain way, it transforms a certain way, as you know, it's meant to appear like in the anime. So I mean, they can't just, you know, redesign the kit to transform in a completely different way. It still has to go from looking as it does in a mobile suit to looking as it does in Wave Rider form. And you know, there's like an established canon as to, you know, how that transformation is supposed to look. So I mean, I think like as far as like redesigning it with modern technology, I mean, there's certain things that maybe they can do better now, but I don't know, you know, how much. We'll have to wait and see how different that's really gonna be. It'll be interesting to see, to compare. But what I'm worried is that, and I mean, there's not really any reason for me to personally worry about this, because, you know, I'm not working at Bandai or anything, but what I'm worried is that the kit's going to come out and it's going to, people are going to have a bad impression of it, or there's going to be bad reviews of it. Like, people are going to be complaining essentially about the fact that it's not what they expected it to be. And so I think it's just, you know, as with anything, it's important to just, you know, manage your expectations. Remember, it's not a 3.0. It's just a Ver.Ka. We don't really have too much to compare it to. I mean, as far as like comparing it to a different 3.0, we only have one 3.0. So this is one of the very few kits, if anything, I think it is. Aside from the RX-782 Gundam, this is the only one that has gotten a new version since the 2.0. So even though it's not a 3.0, it is a new version of the Zeta Gundam after its 2.0 release. Other 2.0s, the Gelgoog, the Gyan, the Goof, the Zakutu, the Jim, those don't have any newer versions other than the 2.0. So it should be interesting, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. They already are complaining about the lack of detail. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I should also mention about that in my review, or in my, you know, the video that I want to make kind of discussing about the topic. Because, yeah, I have seen that people complaining about that as well. And I think the majority of people, I mean, I'm sure there's people complaining about the lack of detail. I think most people probably understand. And I think it's not something that most people need like an explanation for, because, you know, it makes sense. But yeah, of course, there's going to be people who just kind of just complaining, not really getting the reasoning behind it being a less detailed design. All right, let's see. So this part, I have to make sure that I have the right parts here for that. goes like that. Because it's interesting, even going, and this is the main reason why I wanted to do this, why I wanted to build the 1.0 and the kind of the 1.5, as it were, building the Zeta Plus C1, even though it's it's like a 1.5 basically. That's the reason why I wanted to build those kits first, so I could kind of see the progression of the engineering, and just be to the point of what I was just talking about. I mean, how there's like an established way as to how the Zeta Gundam transforms, so there's really not that much that you can do to kind of change that through its different iterations. And like, honestly, after building the 1.0, the Zeta Plus, and now building the 2.0, I mean, it feels very familiar. Like, obviously it's going to be slightly different, but the build process is still going to be very familiar if you've built those kits. And that's why I kind of have a feeling this is how it's going to go with the Ver.Ka as well. It's going to come out and people are going to say it's not that different from the 2.0, but I think that's just kind of that because it's the same Gundam, and so there's only so much that they can really change about it, without drastically changing the design, and they're not going to do that. People complained about the Wing Zero Ver.Ka, and it's still sold out. Oh yeah, I mean, look, no matter what people say about it, it's gonna sell well just because it's a new kit, and especially because it's a new master grade. I mean, there's a lot of appetite for new Gundam models regardless, and especially master grade kits, and like a really popular mobile suit like that. I mean, no doubt in my mind it's gonna sell well, whatever people say about it. So yeah, that's not a big deal. Dharma, thank you for the super chat there. Finally able to catch a live stream. I was thinking about the RG Zeta. I went to a neighborhood city shop and they had a lot. Yeah, the RG Zeta Gundam gets a really bad reputation, unfortunately, but I think, in my opinion and in my experience, not a bad kit at all. Just, again, that's another really good example of how you have to kind of manage your expectations, because that's a kit that has a bad reputation because, yeah, it's got issues, and if you play around with it a bunch, you're gonna not enjoy the experience of that kit. But if you just kind of I know some people get kind of bothered by the kind of expression, but just treat it as a model kit. It's a model kit, and if you just get it, build it, and leave it alone, don't play with it too much, it'll be fine. It's a really good looking kit too, I think. Like the design and proportions and everything are really, really nice on the RG Zeta, so I actually liked it quite a bit. You just had to be careful with it, be gentle, don't play around with it, and you'll be fine. So don't be dissuaded by hearing a lot of negative talk about that kit online. But thank you for the super chat there. Do really appreciate that. Even with its problems, I still think it's the best looking Zeta in kit form. Pole said, yeah, I would have to agree. I think it's really nice. Let's see, and I did that wrong. Okay. It's part separator. The manual did not say. Ooh, fun. The manual didn't say that you have to put the one part on there first. Normally it says like in the little diamond, it says 1, 2, 3 for the order of how the parts need to be put together. Didn't say that for this part, and unfortunately it's a kind of tricky part to disassemble. But fortunately it wasn't too bad. Alright. If I would have looked more closely at it, I probably would have realized that. But, alright. Alright, so there's that. And other side. And almost done with the torso here. And what's next? Arms. Alright. And there's a couple of parts. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, did I forget something? This one's right here. Boo. Probably should put this on here first. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Oh. Yeah, I'm trying to get this part on here after the fact. It's kind of a little tricky. Should have plugged this on here first. Oh, well, there we go. It just came off. I needed it to come off the torso. It seemed like it wasn't going to come off there easily. And then it just came off. All right. So there we go. There's the torso done. Then we've got these guys, which have this little tab, just supposed to be pointing out to the side like that. It's going to be for attaching the backpack parts on there later. There we go. Ta-da! Once again, asking for a twerk stream. Well, Christopher, I'm sorry to disappoint. It's not going to be today. Not today. Or probably any day. But, you know, I don't like to speak in absolutes, so I won't rule it out ever, but probably never. All right, arm unit. FM aerial look nice under a glass case. I probably won't be reviewing the full mechanics aerial, actually. True Brit, how are you? I'm good. How are you? How's it going? How's the family settling into Florida? Pretty well. The weather's been nice for the most part. We finally got some nice rain, but it's getting to that season, and this is only kind of our second now. This is just our second year here, kind of at the beginning of our second year in Florida, and from what I can tell so far, this seems like the kind of stormy season, where we get a lot of thunder and lightning, like storms often, which is just different from what we experienced in Korea. So like growing up in Illinois, we had, you know, thunderstorms, whatever, from time to time, but not like super regularly. And in Korea, like quite rarely. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like the area that we lived, or I don't know, we didn't have like thunderstorms that much. It would rain, but without like the thunder and lightning. But here, ooh, like we experienced this last year, and it seems like it's just kind of starting again now, where you get like not a lot, but at least a little bit of like thunder and lightning like almost every day. It seems like. So from what I can tell, it seems like that's kind of starting now. So we've kind of had that the past couple of days, but it's also been it's been quite dry as of late, so we definitely need some more precipitation, especially because just a couple weeks ago I just laid some sod in our front yard where we had some dead grass, and so I just put some sod down. So some more rain would be nice, because then I don't have to water the sod so much and just let Mother Nature do it for me. Which is only fair, because, well, sort of. The reason that the grass died is Mother Nature's fault, and so it's only fair that Mother Nature should fix it. It was because of the hurricane last fall. When was that? End of September. And what happened was, a lot of people in our neighborhood, like we were really fortunate that the neighborhood I lived, you know, we didn't really get too much damage. Most of the damage was just like people had some wind damage, like a couple of trees fell down, and like the trees falling down was not even that much like wind damage, as much as it was from the flooding. Because and like there wasn't a lot of flooding, but like between the houses and like certain areas, there's like it's just where the water runoff is supposed to go, but because there was so much water, it got like somewhat flooded there, and what it was, it just like saturated the ground for like a couple of days of just the water, just the ground just holding so much water there that the trees just got loose. So then couple that with wind pushing on them, and they're loose at the base, is what caused trees in our neighborhood to fall down, including 2 of ours. And so what happened was then one of the trees we paid to have cut up and hauled off, but the other tree I did myself with the help of Adam here. So he was super helpful with that. But the tree waste from that, let's see, just had to be left out by the curb to be picked up by the city. So you have like a city service here for picking up tree waste, yard waste and stuff basically. But me and like everybody else in the entire city had yard waste to be picked up, so they were super behind. It took them like a month and a half before they came and picked that up. So like a month and a half of just like a huge pile of tree branches sitting out by the curb. So of course killed the grass there. So yeah, now that winter's finally done, and winter here in Florida is kind of like winter by name only. It's not really very wintry, but it's cold enough so that the grass doesn't really grow that much. But now that it's like warming up and the grass is starting to like kick back into high gear of growing again, I went ahead and put some sod down and trying to grow that grass back. I feel like I'm not paying that close attention to what I'm doing here by retelling that story, and I'm worried I'm forgetting something here in the arm, but hopefully I'm doing all right. Not missing any parts as of yet. I feel like I'm probably doing pretty good, but that's also really loose. Is that normal that the arm is that loose here in this socket right there? It feels like, oh, okay, I think I just didn't have it pushed in all the way. Even still, I feel like if I twist that too much, that's gonna pop out of there real easy. We shall see. Picked up the Lord of Zotex kit yesterday after seeing your unboxing. Yeah, a really cool kit. I like that one quite a bit. That was not intended to rhyme, but just came out that way. But yeah, that's a cool one. Any of those, any version of that kit, I've really enjoyed. It's definitely my favorite Hexagear kit so far, I think. And I believe there's another new version of it coming out, right? Am I forgetting something? Razi, the life of a homeowner. Yes, exactly. So many things that we didn't really have to worry about. In Korea, just living in an apartment, I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, owning your own home, of course, is nice, and we're really lucky. I mean, it's certainly nice not to have to worry about some stuff like that when you're just living in an apartment building. When I first moved to Korea, I thought I would never like living in an apartment building, but I certainly got used to it, and I certainly saw the benefits and just the convenience of it after living there for a long time. All right, so a couple of little yellow detail stickers here for the shoulder armor. In the manual, it has you building both arms and both shoulders at the same time, but I separated the parts out for left side and right side. The only thing that's really different about the left side and the right side is going to be the hands. So it doesn't really matter too much. It's nice that even like these little vents on the shoulder are separate details. Let's see. So it's gonna go here. Put that in first, and then this part in here second. Oh, that's pretty tight. Is this even the right spot? It's got to be the right spot. Why is it so tight? Anyway, that goes in there second. Third, be this part here. And then, whoa, wait a minute. Oh wait, no, that's not right. This part in there. Then this part. All right. Gotcha. Okay. Line everything up. Try to keep everything lined up. Get this shoulder armor together. There we go. A little tricky, but not too bad. All right. Oof, man, that's tight. Is that man? Doesn't feel like that's supposed to be that tight. But whew. Really gonna want to be careful with that because I can already see that's even stressing that plastic right there for this part. Ray asked, "What's your favorite Armored Core game?" I've actually not played a lot of Armored Core games. I played probably the ones that I played the most would be Armored Core 3, and I believe it was Armored Core Nexus. This doesn't even look like that. I didn't put that together right. I guess I did. Okay. It's like that. The shoulder armor looks very different from the 1.0. I'm looking at this like wondering if it doesn't, like second guessing myself as to if I have even like put that together right. I guess I did. Just look kind of very funky. All right. Anyway. Okay. So that's that. Depending on what you're putting down, October is actually a great time to sod, but I figure you're putting down Bermuda or Zoysa and not Rescue or Rye. Chris Jones actually putting down St. Augustine grass, which is kind of what most, I mean, I would assume it's in other neighborhoods as well. All the houses like in our neighborhood and like most places around in this area, it's all St. Augustine grass, which I found out through this process and like buying the sod and everything. Not technically grass even. It's actually just a weed, I guess. But it grows like grass, and that's what everybody uses here, I guess. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, you can't just put down seed for that. Like what I was expecting to do was just like after the hurricane and like after I knew that it would be something we would have to fix, I was like, oh, I'll just, you know, wait till spring and I'll just put down some grass seed and just grow it back. But then like when I went and I was like asking for it, it's like, yeah, I just need some grass seed for some St. Augustine grass. And I'm like, you can't seed that. You have to just buy sod. Oh, okay. Interesting. And that sod was not cheap either. So yeah, we ended up being like around $200 total for like all the sod that we needed, but it was for myself and my neighbor, so like $100 each for that. Cause it's like the part of the yard which is like right at the front of the street. So like between my driveway and my neighbor's driveway, and between the road and the sidewalk, so that kind of rectangle, you can imagine that kind of rectangle strip right there. That was the area that needed sod. So Yep. Fun times. Oops, that's not right. It's backwards. For the second arm, now I'm just kind of doing it from memory without looking back at the manual. Should be fine. We'll see if I mess anything up. James asking, how's the build going so far? Well, as I was saying earlier, it's going very familiar. After building the 1.0 and the Zeta Plus C1, you know, building this does seem very familiar. And as I said earlier before that, it's not technically my first time really building the kit in general, just because I had built the gray Zeta, which is based off of this, just the P-Bandai variant of that. The one which is interestingly not even gray at all, but that's just the name. This is gonna be a part that's gonna mess me up, which I'm trying to remember. It goes like that. That one in there like that. Let's see. Well, let's put the arm down for a second, put the hand together. That way, that's easy. I know I can get these parts out of the way. Just the hand. Now this one obviously took a little while, just because there's a fair amount of parts with this. So it took a little bit to just get all the parts cut out, all the parts, all the nubs removed and everything, to prepare it for the live build. Basically, kind of like 2 evenings worth of prep on this ahead of what you're seeing now for the live build. 1 evening to just get all the parts cut out, and then like start working on getting all the nubs cut off and everything, and then a second evening of finishing up all the nub removal and everything, which was last night. It was a late night, but it was all right. Went well. Got everything prepped, and we're ready to go for today. So there's our second arm, cuff, hand. Get on there. Hate this when it's a ball joint with a hinge on it. A lot of kits have that same issue where like it's the head, like the neck. It's like a hinge and a ball joint, and when you're trying to push the ball joint in, it's just turning the polycap. Yeah. Did you have a plan on reviewing the RG Destiny Impulse? No, probably not. I have built the RG Destiny Gundam before. And I didn't really like it that much. I built the Heine Westenfluss version of the RG Destiny. And yeah, didn't really like it, so I won't be building any other version of that. The Destiny in general is just not really one of my favorite Gundam designs. And you know, just I don't know, an RG version of that just doesn't have much appeal to me. This is not near as tight as the other one was. I don't know what the deal with the other shoulder was, but I got that. Let me put the stickers on here. My goal is to get the RX-78-2 Yokohama version and Unicorn Fukuoka version. That's tough to get. Man. It's nice that, I mean, for getting hard to get kits like that, it's nice that it's a lot easier to get them nowadays than it was, I mean, even 5, 10, 15 years ago. That said, I guess like 15 years ago, if you're going back that far, Bandai wasn't doing near as many kind of exclusive type kits at that time. Like 15 years ago, what would have been? I mean, like P-Bandai basically started in like I don't even know if P Bandai's been around 10 years. It's not that long. I guess probably about that. Probably about 10 years is around the time when P Bandai started. But anyway, yeah, even going back to that time, you know, there was a lot fewer sources for getting those kind of kits if you're outside of Japan. But it's, you know, if you want to see some sort of silver lining, at least it's a lot easier to get those exclusive kind of kits these days than it was a long time ago. All right. So, upper body is all done. Poison bagels. I just built this kit last week. Oh, nice. So you didn't feel like waiting for the Ver.Ka, huh? Or maybe you've had this kit for a long time, long before the Ver.Ka was announced. Guessing that may be the case. So I have to imagine that recently there probably haven't been too many people buying this kit because they know that the Ver.Ka is coming out. Unless they don't know that the Ver.Ka kit's coming out. I mean, it's certainly easy to imagine there's people that, you know, just are, you know, fans of Gundam, fans of Gunpla, but they're not like following, well, you know, all the news about what new kits are coming out, and they maybe just don't know that we have a new version of this on the way. They just saw it, or either at a shop or online or whatever, and wanted to get it. It's certainly understandable. 16 and 17. Are the hips on the Zeta 2.0 ball jointed? No, it looks like they are on a pegs. I bought and built this kit a week before the Ver.Ka was announced. Oof. Well, not necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of depends on your perspective, I guess. If you didn't mind that. I mean, if you love the Zeta, if you're a big fan of the Zeta, then you probably don't mind having another version of it to build. Because, I mean, I can assume that you enjoyed the 2.0 well enough, as far as I know. Pretty solid kit, and it seems like it's going that way so far. So I'm sure you enjoyed the 2.0. And if you really love the Zeta, now you can pick up the Ver.Ka as well. So we do have ball joints here for these parts. These are not for the leg, the hip connections. Those go down like that. Okay, then we put that aside for the moment. Put all these little thruster bell details into here. Ooh. All right, got those. So it's kind of a weird order of how this is all going together, but all right. Skipping around a lot, and then we're gonna kind of put everything all together at the end. We got that. K11. Keeps throwing me off that the polycap runner is not PC, but it's actually runner K. And I guess they had to have for this particular kit, they had to have polycaps that they needed a very specific. They needed to make its own polycap runner. They couldn't use a polycap runner from a different kit or anything. So, kind of makes sense. Although, just going through the manual keeps psyching me out. I keep seeing a part, and I can immediately recognize it looks like a polycap that's in the manual without even looking at, you know, whatever the letter or number it is assigned to it. But just because of the fact that it says K and not PC, I'm thinking like, okay, it's a part here, when actually it's just a polycap is what I'm looking for. When did they just stop using polycaps? Well, Bandai has not stopped using polycaps. They have stopped using polycaps on some kits, like the HG Witch from Mercury kits have not been using polycaps. But they haven't stopped using polycaps altogether, and I don't imagine that they ever will necessarily. There was actually an interesting kind of, I don't even want to say an article. It was like a little 2-second like paragraph about this in a MOOC that we took a look at a few weeks ago, talking about the use of polycaps. And basically it was just saying that, like, yeah, it's an important part of the kit design or whatever, and I wouldn't expect it to ever go away entirely. Let's see. So these guys go right there, and they're not really held on by too much of anything. It's different. We got those on there like that. Then this guy's gonna close and lock that up like that. Then for this bar, I don't like that our front skirts are empty. There's detail on the backside, but there's not a separate part on the backside of the. That kind of gives it away that it's a older master grade that we're looking at here. And where do we put this part on? I have this part, which I cut out because I guess I thought it was for the hip, but I actually think that's for the backpack. So anyway, okay, so we're not actually putting that onto the body quite yet. For any particular reason? Huh? No, it doesn't look like it, so nothing really stopping us from going ahead and putting the hips on the body. Okay. There we are. Okay. Let's see. I was kind of shocked to see polycaps in the PG Unleashed box, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example. I mean, for all of the amazing engineering that went into a kit like that, like the Perfect Grade Unleashed, you know, there's so much, you know, amazing model kit engineering in that kit, and then the fact that they're still using polycaps for that, I mean, just goes to show that, you know, they're probably not going to get away from using polycaps anytime soon. They just will, you know, for certain kits where it's deemed that they don't really necessarily need them for what they need the kit to do and for what they're able to make the kit do, you know, for a certain price. You know, polycaps, not using the polycaps just means using less parts. If they can make the kit, you know, good and solid and do everything it needs to do with just using just the like parts of the kit without the use of polycaps in there, then, you know, they save money on printing a polycap runner for the kit. Pretty simple, I think. K10. Let's see, and K8. This bar. All right. Leg 1. And I cannot find the very first piece that I need. It's gray and hiding somewhere. There it is. Okay. All right. As we were saying, that goes there. And this one here. The long-awaited sequel. Yes, Bob. The long-awaited sequel, indeed. How long was it? Let's see. If the original kit came out in 96 and this kit came out in 2005, so between the 1.0 and the 2.0 is 9 years. And now we're going double that, 18 years before the new version, which is not even it's not a 3.0, but just a new version that we're finally getting after that long. So it'd be interesting. As we were kind of talking about earlier, it'll be interesting to see what technological advancements are being made. Oh. Another missed nub. As I said earlier, it was a very late night last night getting all these parts ready, so not too surprised if I missed a little nub here and there. But what was this connected onto? Nothing really, so it's gonna be kind of tricky. But let's see. That goes on here. Where are we? Like that. All right. Got this little part in here. There's nothing really holding it on. Just kind of have to hold it there whilst putting these parts together. Messed it up a little bit. There we go. This little guy, which is going to connect onto... Huh? Oh, what? Oh. Totally missed a... Not like missed a whole step, but missed a whole, like, part of a step there. Alright, K9, we also need that. This polycap in there, forgot to add that polycap in. Then let's put that back. And this piece back on. Alright. Now we can add these. Here. And yeah, so far I have to say the difference between just like the general design of the kits seems to be most noticeable here in the legs, especially this section, which is all we're building here so far. Let's see, hook that and then add this little guy onto there, which I think is this one. There we go. Okay. MG just a foot is loose at the polycap. I need to go back and put some glue on that part and hopefully thicken it up and hold it better. Yeah, another thing you can do is just like a really small little piece of tissue if you don't want to put glue on the part. Just tissue. Unfortunately, though, like, I mean, if there's any of that tissue sticking out, it'll look like some white tissue sticking out of his ankle joint. I mean, you could just put like some just marker on it, just like a black marker on the tissue paper or something like that, to make it less obvious that there's just a little tiny bit sticking out, something like that. Certainly things you could do to tighten that up. Glue is one way, yeah. Alright. This on. Speaking of ankle joints, I believe that's what this part is for now. Like that. And it'll be interesting week because after this, got another MG to build. Ta-da! Finally got this guy in, the MGSD Freedom. So I finally built that kit. Where did you start on it? Ghost Monkey asked. I started on the head, and this is how far we are so far. Yeah, so the MGSD, we're looking forward to building that. Just I think it's going to be a really unique build. Okay, let's see, K1. This part's going in the side of the leg. So, oh. This one here. Make sure I got all the right parts here. Pop that in. Okay. And then that goes down. This polycap goes in the back here. And then this one here. Right? Looks right, but there's nothing really holding that in there. Oh, except it just kind of goes in that track. Okay, there we go. Never pushed in quite all the way. All right, so that's in there. This one goes in the opposite side. I don't know, the instruction manual for this, I mean, just because of the nature of all the transformation that needs to happen with this part of the manual is just kind of very visually dense. So it's kind of difficult to kind of focus on if I'm trying to do this in like a sort of speedy manner. Definitely not a part of the process I would recommend trying to go too quickly. Yeah. Not that like anything's gonna get messed up. That's the thing, like with kits like this, even like the more like quote unquote complicated kits, I mean, there's nothing really that you're gonna do to like mess it up. You may forget a part or something, but I mean, you'll pretty quickly figure that out. There we go. All right, what's next? So, okay. Let me just kind of put that aside for the moment. I can't even tell what that part is supposed to look like. I think it's this one, yeah, all right. That goes there. All right, I hope they will make the Unicorn next or Zeta. Not the first time they didn't start with the RX-78, the MGX. Yeah, it'll be interesting. The MG SD kit. It'll be interesting to see where they go for the next release. But I don't want to. Let's see. Do I not have something on here correctly? Oh, okay. I want to, you know, take my time with the Freedom and, you know, see what that kit's all about before I start to worry too much about what the next kit's going to have in store for us. But we shall see, yeah. There we go. Okay. Man, anybody else getting a headache from this thing or what? Like I was just saying, it's kind of very visually dense, this part. I don't know, like just staring at it. I feel like I'm starting to get a headache. That and okay. And just the way it looks in the manual too. Like the size is all messed up. I feel like this is something that happens with older kits. And this kit's not that old, but something that happens in like some of the a little bit older, a little bit this era of manuals is that something they've gotten better with the manuals, I think, is like the size relativity. Oh, the camera's okay. The build camera's frozen. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I think it's a issue with OBS. Hang on. Let me just close that. So you guys are gonna lose the picture for a moment. Bear with me, or I can just do this. Just gonna switch to here while I restart OBS. I think it's just for some reason it's an issue with OBS. He's building incredibly slow and isn't moving his hands a lot. Yeah, no. It's just that just tends to happen. So let me get that back up for us. What was I saying? J2. Alright. Oh, no, that's not on. Let's do this. Alright, it's gonna be a little trickier than I thought, eh? That and this, and there we go. All right, start. I realize it's all out of focus. We can get that fixed. There we go. Okay. All right. What was I saying? No idea. Sorry, guys. What? That's not even the right part. That needs to be turned up a little bit. And up to here. Technology is just a bunch of black magic and unicorn dust. Well, yes. That's why you need the good stuff, the dust off stuff. Now, there. This part slides onto the back there. And then this part goes up over the top of that. And this part plugs into the front of here. And we've got a foot. Then take this. Okay. To here. That goes on there. And this on here. And we've got a back of leg. You were mentioning the scale and other. Okay, yes. Thank you. Very good. What I was talking about, yeah. Papa Gerbear. Yes. What I was talking about was the scale in the manual. So I would have to go back and like look at a different manual to know if this is really true. But it feels like the case that in the newer manuals, they're better at keeping all the parts in scale. So what I mean like by that is like these two parts will look basically the same size in the manual, but how they have it in like some of the older manuals is like this part and this part will look like the same size. It's in different steps, not like in the same step, but like within the same step everything's fine, but like you'll have like a sub-assembly of like this part and this part in one image, and then like in the next image it's this and this, so that I think that like, oh, this part's got to be bigger when actually it's smaller, or vice versa, whatever. So it's, if you're like taking your time with it and not trying to build like relatively quickly as I'm doing, it's probably not going to be something that you would notice or would bother you at all. But I don't know, I do notice it sometimes, and not as much with this one. I've definitely noticed it more in some older kits, but this one feels like I am getting a little bit of that with this one here, where it's just like if you're just looking, like glancing at the manual quickly, it just kind of throws you off with everything not being in scale with each other. Yeah. Vinny says he likes the USA Gundam nippers. Me too. That's what I use. I use them because obviously have easy access to them here. But no, I've been very happy with mine as well, yeah. Just as good as any other like premium single blade nippers that I've used, so yeah, why not? And of course, if you guys are in the US and you're able to order online from USA Gundam Store, the nice thing is that if if you're in the market, you need a new set of nippers, is that you can get, I forgot something. You can get free shipping when you buy the nippers in your order. It's cool. I would recommend it. All right, is that? Okay. All right. Then last part here, got the beam saber, which points down. Actually, it fits really nicely in there. And then this part. Okay, so that is actually our side skirt that you build at the same time with the leg, interestingly enough, but that's because the leg has to be on here, and then we can plug this onto here. The way the side skirts plug onto there, I'm not a fan. We'll see, but doesn't seem good. All right. But there's our one leg. It's quite leggy. I mean, and you have to imagine that the Ver.Ka is, of course, going to be even more leggy than this, so that'll be interesting. Yep. I had the old version, but I lost the peg and then the springs, so I got the new version. They're much better. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely the new, like the 2.0 nippers are definitely better than the 1.0 ones. That's true. Do you have a recommendation for a pin vise? Haven't quite had the need for one yet, but figured it'd be something to, yeah. I mean, this set. this set, I mean, this is the USA Gundam Store brand one. It's the same as the regular, like, non-branded one, just the colors are different. If you order from here, you'll get this. But otherwise, they're like normally in like red, green, blue, yellow, something like that. This set is really, really nice because it has just like all the standard sizes, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3 millimeters, and you can fold this back and like have this like stand on your desk. And kind of hard to show you guys, but it stands up like that, like this. Which I mean, it is kind of cool. I don't really ever use that, but it is kind of an interesting function of just the case. But this is really nice just because it's very convenient, and when you want to switch between sizes, it's really convenient. Now, there are other pin vices, and what I used to use before I had one of these sets, I have 2 of these sets now. What I used to use is one that you can, it's just a single handle, and you can swap out the bit for it. That is nice if you have like some very specific sizes that you need, or if you have a really small size that you need. So if you need something smaller than 1 millimeter, then a pin vise like that can be useful, can be helpful. But just for like general use, I would really highly recommend just getting that Mr. Color, Mr. Hobby pin vise set, because like for general use, I think that's just the best thing. You only need like the swappable ones, but that's there is a like I think it's Wave. I think that makes like a quick swap one. I've not ever tried that before. It's probably pretty good, but I don't think that it's gonna beat the convenience of the Mr. Hobby pin vise set. I think it's just the most convenient thing. Works well, easy, inexpensive. I don't know offhand how much that set is, but I don't know. I would guess it's like $15 or something like that, maybe even less. So, yep, that would be my recommendation for pin vise. He said earlier he doesn't plan on reviewing it, but or you're asking about the aerial. Yeah, the full mechanics aerial. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just to answer that again. Yeah, I don't think that I'll be building the full mechanics aerial kit. I think I'm just gonna wait for the MG, even though it may be a little while. It's probably gonna be a little bit longer of a wait, but I think I'll be all right. The aerial design has certainly grown on me a lot, but I still don't love it. So I'm fine with just kind of sticking with the HG for now. Five, 6. We go back, because again, this is a case where 8 and 10. It's another case where if I was following the manual, like truly, it actually has you build both legs at the same time, and then you just once you get to the end, it separates the left and the right. But I just had all the parts all separated. PC 9. See, now I'm even calling it PC 9, even though it's K. What's here? What's there? And then what's at the front? That'd be 5, polycap 5 here at the front. This little piece here. That's where I didn't want it to be. All right. Fortunately, because there was a couple of things I kind of messed up on along the way, or got distracted by. The first leg took a lot longer. I think the second leg is going to be substantially shorter time to put this leg together. Now that I'm familiar with it. All right, got that. And then, let's see. This guy I expect an MG Ariel. Barbie was the same. Yeah, totally. I mean, just look at the Barbatos. And if you guys missed the live stream on the USA Gundam TV YouTube channel that Adam and I do every 2 weeks, we do a live stream there, mostly answering your guys' questions. And we were talking about this on the last live stream last Friday. The time. The amount of time between the release of the full mechanics, or it was just the non-grade 100 scale Barbatos and the master grade Barbatos, we were discussing that, and it was longer than what I remembered, but shorter than what Adam remembered. I thought it was like 2 or 3 years. Adam thought it was like 5 or 6 years, and I think it was actually like 4 years in between, something like that. But yeah, if we, just based off of that, you can assume, a similar amount of time. A similar amount of time for in between the full mechanics aerial and the master grade aerial. I don't think it's going to be that long. I think we'll probably get the master grade aerial 2 years later, probably not next year, but 2025. And for me, honestly, I'm kind of willing to wait that long. But I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, I'll change my mind, or maybe I'll have some idea for a custom build or something that I'm really excited about, and I really want to build it. In that case, maybe I will. But for the time being, barring that, I don't think that I'll be reviewing that kit. I have a lot of other stuff that I'm more excited about and more interested in reviewing and sharing with you guys that I feel like it's probably less likely to be reviewed by other people. So that's kind of more motivating for me to want to review something. All right, got that. Down. Then this guy is here, and like that, and that. Yeah. Into here. Oh. Okay. Just making sure. All right, let's see. Based on early reviews and photos, the new Zeta Ver.Ka surprisingly isn't as leggy as the 2.0. Really? That's unfortunate. I'm personally a big fan of Katoki's more leggy designs. Like, I love the original Masquerade Unicorn Ver.Ka. Despite its flaws of, just generally kind of being a bit of a brick, I think it's such a good looking design. A lot of that is just due to its beautiful legginess. But interesting. Wait a minute. Hold off on that, because I don't think that's right. Oh, you know what I forgot? Forgot this part there at the front of the foot. That's more like it. This one here. This one here. Yeah, this one here. This one on this side. This one on this side. Like that. Okay, all good. Just like that. And here, okay, so this one, this hip joint, which is just 3 little pieces. Well, 4 if you include the polycap. I can get the manual to stand up there. It's the same. Okay. Just a couple of pieces, but I couldn't remember quite how that goes on there. Okay. On you. There's not any front or back, left or right side for this piece, but still is not wanting to get on there. Why is that? Come on. There you are. Thank you. Okay. Straighten that leg out a little bit. Is that kind of... something's looking a bit weird with this leg. Like, I feel like... this should be able to go more straight, but if I make that straight, then it's kind of like the knee is too far tucked in, but it's actually kind of not. You just kind of have to push that knee armor out a little bit. I know it's kind of weird. Yes, this is why I don't like how these side skirts attach onto here, because like it's a weird thing. This should have, the side skirts should have been assembled earlier at the time when you're putting the hips together, so that you can already have these attached onto here ahead of time. Just trying to put them on now is kind of weird. But anyway, at any rate, there he is. Yeah, he's quite leggy indeed. And I think a lot of that is also due to the side skirts. It's gonna take a few minutes to kind of get everything lined up to get this into a proper stance. But, nope. I'm gonna go opposite way without turning the whole thing. There we go. Yeah, interesting. Okay. So, Nameko-san asks, what MS do you like? The RX-782? No, I don't know. There's other stuff. All right, so we've got the backpack up next, and then the weapons. Easy peasy. But I'll be right back in just a moment. Let me see. So hang tight for a second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Can't wait for you to put the wings on and have to play the Dark Souls of balancing. Yeah, I can already tell it's going to be a tricky one just because of the, like I was just saying, like it's going to be a challenge just to get everything like lined up and straightened up for the legs. Let's see. Got a couple of stickers that I forgot. I think it's like stickers on the legs. Yeah. Oh, and the arms. Let's stand up there. Let's take a quick sticker pause. Stickers on the arms here, and then there's a couple of stickers on the legs. Those last couple ones go on the shield, right? No, on the rifle. Okay. Why was I thinking that? All right. You built that whole dude in 1.5 hours. How are you so fast? Well, I'm not that fast. I had all the parts cut out and all the nubs removed and everything like that all ahead of time. So, I mean, take into account that there's probably like, I don't know, 6 hours of work done ahead of time. 6, 7, I don't know, something like that. 7's probably more realistic, I guess. 7 hours total of just kind of getting all the parts ready, and then, you know, a couple hours to build. So all in all, like 9 hours, you know, just for like a build up. With even that, you know, is, I don't know. It's kind of up to you whether that sounds fast or not. It doesn't sound that fast to me. Then again, it is a master grade, and you know, a relatively complex one. So 9 hours to completely build it is not too bad, I guess. It's not paint ready, so if I were, you know, building this, putting this together with the intent to go in and paint it, then I mean, you could easily double that. 20 hours probably is more likely what it would take to get this to go from like 0 to ready to paint. Just because there's a lot of parts to sand and everything. Fortunately, not really any seam lines, as you might expect. Not a lot of that work, but just general prep work, mold lines, and just getting your surfaces all sanded and everything all fresh and clean. All right. Okay. Oh, Pre-Ka, I was feeling like the laziest computer. No. I mean, definitely. I mean, like the number one, the however fast or slow you build, I mean, really doesn't matter at all. Yeah, honestly, if a build, you know, takes you a little more time, I would honestly look at that as almost a good thing, because as I've talked about in past videos and past live streams and stuff, I feel like many times, probably some of you probably heard this many times before, but you know, I feel like when you're buying a model kit, part of what you're paying for is the experience, you know, the fun, the experience of building it, putting it together, because otherwise, I mean, you could just buy an action figure or something, whatever. But you're buying a model kit, you know, part of what you're paying for is the enjoyment that you get out of building it. And if it takes you longer, you know, you're getting, you know, more hours of enjoyment from the build, which I think is a good thing. Yeah, and Jiku said Gunpla teaches you patience. Yeah, definitely. It should. I mean, I know some impatient builders. I can be impatient as well. But yeah, certainly in general, I definitely agree with that. Even if it's not necessarily, like, for myself, like, just like speaking from my experience, even if it's not, even if I'm not being patient, I'm still, let's see, hang on, how is this going in there? Okay. even if I'm not being patient, it's still like a meditative process for me. Obviously not in this sense when I'm doing a live stream talking with you guys, because there's a little bit more involved with it, but especially if I'm just like at home or whatever. You know, some people will like put on Netflix or put on a video game. Something the way, I mean, it's my hobby too, right? So it's how I relax and kind of kick back and just kind of zone out. And I'll usually also have some Netflix or something like that on at the same time as well. Just Netflix or YouTube or whatever. Here's a really good example of that perspective thing I was talking about earlier. Like this piece here is this little, you know, it looks like a polycap, except that it's not a polycap. But in the manual, it looks much smaller than it actually is. So I was looking for like a real small piece, but it's just this guy. All right. It's our connection piece here. Close that up. Like that for our stabilizer. And no LED gimmick in the stabilizer that the 1.0 had. Interestingly enough, the 1.0 Master Grade had a LED in the tail stabilizer. I mean, it wasn't great by any means. It wasn't a very good one, but it had it, which I think is interesting. And something that wasn't carried over into the 2.0. So really into custom builds, so it takes a while to get through one model. Yeah, especially, I mean, like, that's the other thing to consider. I mean, like, I can go through it pretty quickly because I'm only building the kit at the moment. I'm only building it for the purposes of reviewing it. I mean, like, if I was building it for the purposes, you know, I wanted to build it to a state where I wanted to display it, unpainted even, or of course, if I wanted to paint it, then of course you're talking much more time for that. But I mean, just if I was building this for the purposes of displaying it, yeah, of course it would take a lot longer. But just building it up to the quality that it's, you know, presentable to share in a review with you guys, then, you know, it just needs to, you know, look nice straight out of the box. So it's a pretty quick process. Where did that other polycap go? Uh-oh. All right. Search for the lost polycap. I took it off the runner. And then... Here it is. Here. Let's see. My very first Gunpla kit. When is the best time to panel line? Good question. Some people, if you're not planning on painting the kit, you know, you're just kind of as you are a beginner and you just want to do some panel lining just to make it look a little bit nicer. What some people do, in your case, is they panel line parts even before cutting the parts off the runner. You can do that. Just panel line everything just while it's on the runner and then go through your assembly and kind of everything, all the panel lines sort of already done. Or what we can do is just panel line each part as you go along. So like you cut out, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts for a particular step, panel line the parts individually, put that together, then on to the next step. Or you can put the entire kit together and then you just break it down into sections like a leg, an arm, a torso, a head, and then panel line it like that. Any one of those is going to give you basically the same results. If it were me, probably what I would do would be the last option. Build it all first, and then go back and do your panel lining on each subsection. So like a leg, you could leave it the entire kit all completely together if you want, but just to make it a little easier on yourself, maybe just break it down to like leg, arm, like that. And I think that the reason that I would do it like that is, sorry, I'm just gonna need to see how this part goes on here. The reason I would do it like that is because if you're doing the panel lining before assembling the parts, you may be panel lining areas that are going to get covered up anyway, and then you just kind of wasted your time. Or you may not panel line areas that are actually, once they're together, it kind of makes sense to have like a little panel line detail there. So just so that you have a clear understanding of where your panel lining should be or should not be, I would recommend to just do all the assembly first, and then break it down however much you want to, and then do your panel lining. But really, for just kind of at the stage you're at, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Any of those options will work just as well for giving you what you're looking for, which is just nothing like super professional, but just better than how it looks straight out of the box. So that would be my recommendation. What are your thoughts of Krylon 1311 matte finish as a top coat? I've never used it. Generally, I wouldn't recommend. If you can get, whether it's paint or top coat or surfacer or whatever, anything that you're spraying on your kit, if you can get a product that's meant for model kits, I would generally say that that's probably a better bet. Now, can you use like just Krylon spray paint or spray surfacer or top coat or whatever and still get good results? Probably, yes. I'm not, but like having not tried it myself, I couldn't say for sure, how much a difference it's really going to make or not. Just generally, I would say, if you can get a product that's meant for model kits, just go for that. But that's obviously going to be more expensive. How much more expensive depends on the product, but that's not right. There's certainly plenty of instances where products which are not necessarily made for model kits can work just as well, if not better, and can save you a lot of money. Like, for example, no, I'm not going to be able to think of something off the top of my head, but like just tweezers, masking tape, these sort of like kind of generic products for, things that can be used for a lot of different purposes, not only just model kits. You can find other options. And of course, anything that's like made for model kits is going to work basically the same way. It's just going to be marked up because it's more of like a specialty product when it doesn't really necessarily need to be. That said, there may be some advantages to whatever the specialty product is. So like just on the note of tweezers, for an example, like tweezers, you think, okay, you just need a pair of tweezers. You can get like a pair of tweezers at the dollar store for $1. And how is that going to be any different, from spending $10, $12, $15, $20? I'm not sure if there's any hobby tweezers that are that expensive. There might be, I guess, but how is that any different from getting like much more expensive hobby tweezers compared to just like some $1 tweezers from the dollar store? Probably not much difference. They're going to work basically the same. The thing is that like with the hobby ones, they might be a specific shape, which is better for your hobby needs, or what you're generally going to use your tweezers for, which is mostly kind of like stickers, decals, maybe small parts. I don't really like using tweezers for small parts usually, just because I find it's easier to actually lose the parts like that, unless you're using like a plastic tipped tweezers and not metal tipped ones. But those are like even too specialized. I don't even like using those, because there's just such a rare instance that I would really want to use that. Even though I have pretty large hands and big hands, big fingers, even like small parts I can generally just do fine by hand. I don't need to use tweezers for something like that. Yeah, so even though on the surface you may think, what's the difference between Mr. Hobby like modeling tweezers versus dollar store $1 tweezers? It's just going to be that small differences that don't really seem like much and may not be worth it for you. But there is going to be slight differences. Otherwise, yeah, of course, like, who would buy that if it's exactly the same? So it's just going to be slightly altered to be more specifically tailored for use on model kits. And on that note, the same goes for paint, which is what the question was about earlier, about the top coat. Paint that's meant for model kits it may seem like, what's the big deal? It's just, paint's paint, but it is going to be made specifically for that. All right. Almost done with the wings. Got these last couple of bits. We can get these on. Last little connection bit here, and we're good. Oops. Oh, all right. Okay, let's see. What kind of mask do you have to use? I've been seeing people using the ones that you see Breaking Bad. I mean, for any kind of hobby paint, I would use one of these, like a respirator mask. Definitely, yeah. Okay, how do we connect this backpack on here now? So the center part's easy enough. That just pops on. And the side parts. That's on here. Okay. Well, there we go. It seems kind of weird. The way that the backpack's all connected together, it seems like it's like very tightly holding together. But I mean, the good point of that is that it's staying in shape. Like I feel like that's not moving anywhere. Whereas with the 1.0, it had the problem that the wing parts on the side were kind of floppy. So it's definitely an improvement on that, for sure. Okay. So let's put together our weapons, which is just the shield, rifle, and hyper mega launcher. That it? Oh, including all. Oh no, I did. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got the clear part because for the beam rifle, it has a clear part for the camera. But I remember what I did is I already went ahead and put the clear part into here just to make sure that I didn't lose it later on. So I already got that. That's good. Okay. Still a Zeta Zach thing, been a miss since I've seen any Zach, let alone a stream. Justin, hey, yeah, well, I haven't done a live stream build for a couple weeks. Sorry, I was just on other stuff. Let's see. What else are you guys chatting about? I thought it was HG. MG, yes, now make him stand. All right, Bob, I'll try. Right now, yeah, I've just got him kind of leaning. But okay, the trick I think will be making him stand while keeping the legs, you know, like how they're supposed to be. Because it seems like the part that like connects on the back of the legs, like really weird. I'm already noticing it. It's kind of like wanting to come off right here. So to make sure that that stays connected, try to keep the knee joint like in the right orientation. So let's try to finagle the legs. So yeah, trying to get the feet adjusted seems like it's going to be kind of tricky as well. To get the feet turned so that they can be flat on the ground or as close to that as possible. Let's see, straighten out our armor, our legs, kind of flatten the feet a little bit. So I mean, I got him standing, but yeah, the trick is going to be with the knees, getting those to look right and just kind of the angle of everything. So if there's one thing at this point that I would want the Ver.Ka to do, that, you know, what I'm noticing right away about this one's just kind of struggling with is the ability to stand. So, I mean, not that this kit can't stand. I feel like, you know, if I keep playing with it, I can certainly get it to stand just fine. And certainly, you know, if you're doing a different pose with it, sometimes they stand better in action poses. But like how I have it now, it's standing, but I can see it's like leaning back on its back heels, and if I blow on it, it's gonna fall backwards. So you can get it to stand, but the pose is gonna look kind of funky. So what I am hoping that the Ver.Ka will do is be able to stand and not have the pose suffer for it. You know, based on the very few images of the Ver.Ka that we have so far, it looks like it is going to be able to do that. Yeah, it seems like the ankles, just because of the transformation, the way that the ankles work and the way that the knees and the ankles kind of generally just seem to be moving in a way that just doesn't really seem to work. All right, let me put our couple of stickers on here first. And this, okay. We've got this guy here too. We're gonna put a little drop of glue on this guy. Aside from the standing pilot figure, you also have this kind of standing like deck crew member, like this, waving the lights. It's for like the landing dock or like the takeoff platform or whatever. But it's actually two separate pieces, so just to make sure that stays together, put a little bit of glue on that. Okay. As for the shield, is first up. Oh, this actually has a specific way that needs to go on there. Okay. Wow, damn. Why is that not wanting to go on there? Come on. Oh. It's very too tight. This one's going to be the same, isn't it? All right. It wasn't quite as bad. All right. So we got that on there. Fold that down, and our shield parts here. Goes in there. Have this little connection piece. It's not that. There it is. Okay. All right. Next. This big guy. It's on here. 2. Not that one quite yet. This one. So it'd certainly be a little bit easier if I would have left these parts separated, like which parts are for the rifle, which parts are for the shield. It's not having to sift through. Is making it a little bit more tricky on myself, but it's not too bad. Fine. Oh, that's it for the shield. Oh, okay. So thinking that there was going to be like a couple more parts. It looks like it, right? It looks kind of unfinished, but no, that's it. That's just simple as there for the shield. Slides like that. Okay. We also got these guys, which are for the sides of the arms. Kind of a weird accessory. I mean, I guess it's something from the anime. I don't remember. I mean, obviously it must be something from the anime. Like the little missile pods that go on the side of the arms. Yeah. Shield. Okay. And the rifle. So. All right. So far, how would you rate the build? I would rate it that It's interesting. I think, to be honest, the age is more noticeable than kind of I was expecting. Because it's a 2.0, you kind of generally have the idea in your mind that 2.0s are by and large very good, and I think it is really good. But I think that it's not as nice as other 2.0 kits, I would say. But I think the difficulty is that it's just due to the design. It's just a difficult design. The way that the mobile suit is designed, and especially with the transformation in mind, I think it's probably a challenging kit to make a really nice master grade of, which I think is nice that we're getting a new master grade of this in the Ver.Ka. Not that it like really needs it, not like, oh man, this kit is bad, it needs a 2.0. It's more so that it's a good opportunity for Bandai to take another stab at it, if that makes sense. Yeah. That. Oof. That's the other thing. To add to my wish list for the Ver.Ka, for the knees and ankles of the legs in general to be designed in a way that's better and can stand better. That would be one wish. My other wish would be much less, or hopefully zero, use of ABS plastic on it. That would be another thing that I really hope for with the Ver.Ka. It'll be interesting to see if it uses any ABS plastic in it or not. I guess a good thing to go off of would be like the Wing Zero Ver.Ka, the most recent Ver.Ka. Did it use ABS for the frame? I don't remember. You guys remember offhand? Here's the beam rifle, by the way. It's a pretty cool beam rifle. I always feel like every time I build one, I like the design of the Zeta's beam rifle, but if you were to just ask me oh, is there any beam rifle design that you really like? It's not one that would ever come to mind. And if you ask me oh, do you like the Zeta Gundam's beam rifle, I would just say meh. But then when I actually build it and look at it and I have it in hand, it is a nice design. I think maybe just kind of the colors of it are weird. I don't know. I built this kit when I didn't know how solvent base paints reacts to ABS. Yeah. Sorry. Our last polycap. Thank you. Hey, is that an MGSD Freedom I see in the background? Yes. Here, yep. I was showing that earlier as I just got that today. So, yes, finally I can build and review that kit. This goes here. That's there, and that should be everything we need to close this up. And then oh, wrong way. There we go. Like that. The secondary handles here on the side. 2 of those. And yeah, these parts. Here and here. Barrel. And this base. How does this go? That towards the handle. Like that. There you go. Our Hyper Mega Launcher is how many centimeters? 26.5-ish. About that's the let's fully extend it. Sorry. Make that 29 centimeters at full length. There. Very cool. So I mean, at the very least, if you already have the 2.0 and you're planning on getting the Ver.Ka and you're sad that if you're like me and you're sad that the Ver.Ka is not including the Hyper Mega Launcher, at least you already have it. So if you already have the 2.0 and you're not using this with the 2.0, you can give it to your Ver.Ka. Seems like, and I assume it'll be able to hold it. The hand and like the handle system might be a little bit different, but I mean, it should be able to hold it. I mean, or you can just hold it by the handle there on the top, do the kind of standing pose thing with it just standing up vertically. Acer said, Korean, I watch Meho Hobbies review if you want to spoil specifics of the new Ver.Ka. Okay, I'll check it out. Does he have it early or something? Or did it already release? I didn't know that it was actually already released yet. Let's see. It's a shame the Ver.Ka doesn't include the Hyper Mega Launcher, but it's a blood sacrifice for a stable kit I'm more than willing to pay for. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, And an important thing to keep in mind, like for any kit, may not have everything you want it to come with it, and it may not be exactly perfect, but if it gives you a cool kit of a design that you like, I mean, you have to kind of focus on the positive, right? But yeah, he got it 4 months early. How does that happen? He doesn't work for Bandai, does he? That's weird, because I know that Bandai generally doesn't do any early kits to any just like reviewers online. Certainly not to me, but no, I don't think I didn't know if they do that. I think there's like maybe like 1 or 2 like Japanese bloggers that may get a kit like a week early, but even that, I don't know. Must be a distributor thing. Yeah. I wonder about how that came to be. Not that there's anything like suspicious or like anything bad about it. It's just, I mean, he has 300k subscribers, so privileges. I mean, maybe, but like I said, it even like doesn't even, as far as I know, it doesn't even matter how many subscribers or followers or whatever you have. It's just something that, as far as I knew, Bandai just kind of doesn't do that. And a lot of cases, because they wouldn't be able to give kits out early because they just don't have them early. They like the kits will be ready, maybe like a couple weeks or a month or something, ahead of a release. But like even 4 months early, that's crazy. Let's see. MG Origin Zaku, yeah, I would love to see that. Anyway, guys, so that's it for the live stream today. Not sure what the next live build is going to be at the moment, but I'll certainly let you guys know. For now, I need to wrap it up because I got some other stuff I need to finish up here before the day is done. But as always, thanks guys for coming and hanging out. Interesting, very interesting. So I'm really glad to have this kit built, and then of course I'll review this. I'm really glad to have it built and reviewed ahead of the release of the Ver.Ka, so we can really kind of go hopefully pretty in depth as far as like what are the pros and cons and differences between the releases, things like that. So we should be able to kind of really explore that in better detail now that I've built the 1.0, the 1.5 in the C+, Z plus C1, and now the 2.0. So we can kind of see that progression, and then the 18-year gap from that to now getting the Ver.Ka. Anyway, let's see. MG Destiny is good. I recommend to you. Yeah, probably won't build an MG Destiny anytime soon either. Although I was gonna say I have built it sort of, but no, I've built the Impulse Destiny Blanche, which only really uses the backpack from the Destiny. It's mostly just the Impulse Gundam. All right, the Ver.Ka Wave Rider is flat AF. Oh, interesting. All right. Okay, guys. Probably someone snuck it off the production line. No, I mean, I really don't think that that's the case. That's another thing I know that just doesn't happen with Bandai. I mean, someone would be in really big trouble if that was the case. So I don't know. I mean, I'll look into it, maybe ask around, but I'm wondering what the circumstances are, just out of curiosity for how somebody got the kit, especially months early. But anyway, yeah, I'll check that out, and I'll see you guys in the review for this guy soon, and then yeah, we'll let you know what the next live build is going to be. When I know, I'll let you know. All right, that's it for today, guys. Have a great rest of your Monday, or I guess it'd be early Tuesday morning, depending on where you are in the world, but have a great rest of your day. Bye.